fascinated by the mystery of the moon. But over 60 years ago, writer H.G. Wells anticipated the shape of things to come with his fascinating adventure, First Men in the Moon. The story of the first men to bridge the 250,000 miles between heaven and earth. This is how it began.
This is a solemn moment in the history of mankind. We're off!
What's happening?
Just as I predicted! Shot into space with the speed of a bullet!
First Men in the Moon. An experience unparalleled on the screen as two worlds meet and clash.
Come on! Help me, come on!
First Men in the Moon. Starring Edward Judd, first human to set foot on a strange new world in space. Martha Hyer, the first woman to experience the indescribable dangers of this other world.
Stay away from there or I'll shoot!
Lionel Jeffries, who discovers an empire beyond imagination. First Men in the Moon. Filmed in Dynamation. Dynamation, miracle of the screen, captures the whole marvelous, miraculous story of man's first journey to the moon.
Well, it makes all other forms of power obsolete. That's why they're getting their power from sunlight.
You will discover human ant-like creatures H.G. Wells called Selenites. Giant gastropods.
Cover, run!
Fearsome moon monsters to be hunted, then killed. You will encounter another world of eerie beauty and infinite mystery.
Soon others will be coming from Earth. Our galleries will be strewn with dead.
I'm the only one who holds the secret of Cavorite.
Then you and your secret will remain here on the moon.
Cavor! Cavor, this is not an audience. You're on trial. No, Bedford! No! You're convicted.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to 31 Days of Monsters, Day 11, First Men in the Moon from 1964. You'll notice that in that trailer, they barely show them on Earth. And yet, for an interminable amount of time, we have to witness this parlor drama nonsense, which really slows this movie down. Julie wanted me to apologize for making everybody watch this movie because she watched it last night and was completely bored to death. The beginning is just, it's just a slow slog. You don't really, if our hero is that guy who's a playwright, he's sort of a, seedy kind of guy. He's trying to rip off people. He's trying to sell a house that's not his to finance this whole thing. He's not a really great person. The positive thing is once they get to the moon, the Harryhausen designs and stuff are just gorgeous. The moon surface, the creatures themselves, even the spaceship landing. It's all really, really great. It's just that this takes place in it was filmed in 1964. So we have not been to the moon yet. But I suspect that, we did have an idea that you couldn't have your hands out of a spacesuit in a vacuum without having your blood boil. They knew what a vacuum atmosphere or lack of atmosphere would do to the human body. But maybe they were just trying to harken back to Jules Verne's time when he wrote it and didn't know. But I think that if they're going to go that far, we should have, at least put a little bit more into it as far as what we did know about science. I saw this movie when I was a kid and didn't really know it was in color because I saw it on a black and white TV. And the color is really great. It's also in a widescreen format, which I think it's the first of Harryhausen's movies to be done that way. And so it looks great on the screen. It's just that this is really a tough slog. Lionel Jeffries is so over the top in this film. Gibbs. He says Gibbs 33 times in this movie. So I'm apologizing for having to watch this because I think a lot of you guys probably thought it was boring, and I don't blame you. But we'll get into the chat here and see if you indeed do think that. So let's see who is here. It's probably going to be a short list at this time of day. Chris Juliano is the first one in. Hello, Chris. Cigar Gangster says good morning. Rick 1662. Shadowhawk Talks. Woohoo. Hail CG. Hail Graham in the chat. Shinu 77 coming soon. Yes, sir. Bob. I am working on a wraparound cover, which will be exclusive to the Everything box. And I had done one already, and I put it into the campaign, but I've taken it out because I don't like it. It's not powerful enough. There's something missing from it. So I'm redoing it today. So once I get off of here, I'm going to redo it. I got a much better design for it. And I think it's going to really pay off. Maybe I'll share the old one at some point during a stream and you can compare it when this one is finished. Burgundy Ghost says hello. Dr. Mask says, just saying hi. He'll have to catch the replay. Understood. Dragon Dancer is here. Good morning, all, she says. Marcus Kellegrew is here live. Okay, excellent. And Marcus reminds us, speaking of the Shinu, 77, sign up to receive front of the line shipping. There it is. Also, there's a 24-hour cover that'll only be available for the first 24 hours. So if you sign up, you'll have the first shot at it. So sign up. JP Roca asks what's good. JP Roca also says this was a crazy movie and old. Well, not as old as some that we've seen. This is 1964. Rob Fellows says, don't forget England's the land of eccentrics. Yep, I can't argue with that. Hello from England. Hello, Rob. Dennis Shoemate says, hey, gang, you changed the time on this, and I'm going to have to tell my boss noon must be blocked now. Well, we were noon last year, Dennis. That was the official time that we used last year, too, and it works best for me. Chris Juliano says, hello to me. Hello, Chris. Dragon Dancer says it was listed as comedy and sci-fi on Amazon Prime description. Yeah, I suppose like the first half of it when they're on Earth, it's certainly more comedic. Once they get to the moon is when the movie really starts for me. I did like how they set us up in modern times. In 1964, they sent the spacecraft there who land on the moon, and they find the British flag there and the note, which is a great way. It's a great teaser. It's like, what the hell? What's this doing here? It's like that story about the last man on Earth, and he's sitting there and he hears a knock on the door. That's just, a really great teaser. So it's like a wraparound, and then it brings you back to it in the end. But then there's, it sort of steals from Jules. I don't know if this is in the book, or if it was just from the movie. It's from the movie. They're stealing from H.G. Wells here with the bacteria or the cold from the scientist, end up killing all the moon creatures. He must have brought COVID-19 with him. I wish Harryhausen had got to do a dark, sinister Lovecraft-inspired movie. The visuals here are great, but ruined with comedy. I couldn't agree more, Rob. This could have been a really. I always thought it was creepy. Those moon creatures, especially not the ones in the suits, but the Harryhausen animated ones. I thought they were great. I loved those as a kid, and I love to see pictures of them in the Monster Times and in Famous Monsters of Filmland and all those magazines, because they just look so cool and creepy and insect-like. But it just the humor undermines the drama in this. He's like a goofball, this crackpot scientist. He plays sort of the same role in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang as Dick Van Dyke's father. Who I also think he's like a couple of years younger than Dick Van Dyke. Lionel Jeffries, that is. But he was a crackpot inventor in that one too. Just over the top. Blackjack, as a former fat ass, 295 pounds 8 years ago, 165 now. Oh, congratulations. I'm interested in how long you've been working out, getting fit. What made you start? Well, that's sort of a divergence here, but it is a topic I do enjoy talking about. I was a high school athlete. I wrestled in high school and lettered in that. And then once I got married and had kids, I was concentrating on raising a family in my career. So I got out of any kind of weight training and exercise and stuff like that for a number of years, sitting on my butt, drawing, so many hours a day didn't help either. My hips were hurting, joints were hurting. And in 2009, at 47, I decided my kids were older, needed less time. I decided, well, I'm going to, devote some time and get back into it. So I started back in a lot of cardio back then, which I don't really subscribe to today. And then I started back in on weight training, and then eventually went into heavy lifts, which I think is the most beneficial for everybody. Is lifting heavy. You'll get the biggest bang for your buck and the biggest changes to your physique by doing that instead of countless reps. So that answers your question. Education says Phil Tippett is available. We could crowdfund the Cthulhu Destroys New York City movie. Well, nowadays with CGI, they could CGI, they can do anything. All right, I think that's it for comments. What do we got coming up? Oh, we got a real creep fest coming tomorrow, and that is the Nosferatu 2024's Nosferatu. That is available on HBO, so you could catch that there. It is very, very creepy. Eggers, the director, I really liked his The Witch, I think it was called. So you should check that one out. And then we got another one on Monday, Southbound, which you can watch on YouTube, by the way. That's up there. That's where I caught it. Today I'm going to watch Crawl. I watched Vampire Circus this morning. That was fun. I recommend that. That's available on Prime. And then we have The Ring, Near Dark, Kingdom of the Spiders coming up. So we got some good ones coming up here. Sometimes you have to slog through some. This one has its pluses for sure, but some of it is a slog. So you get what you get. All right, my friends, that'll wrap it up for today's installment of day 11. We'll see you tomorrow for day 12 with Nosferatu. And I hope everybody has a great Saturday, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.